Ever wanted to play a game that shows you the life of how we lived back in the day? Then you're probably sad that BC was cancelled back in the day, but fear not. Instead you just have to play some obscure game on the PlayStation 1 instead, called Tale of the Sun. You can choose to be a caveman or a cavewoman. Most cavemen are ugly, most cavewomen look like cute anime girls, just like how life should be. If you're a fan of a specific genre of doujins, that one with the infamous 3 letters, NTR. Some of them also look like black mages or just weird. Makes you a bit sad that evolution made us look pretty normal in comparison in the end. Mostly. What do cavemen and cavewomen do the whole day though? Yep, beat up other people with their fists and murder them in cold blood. That's what I did as the first thing in the game, despite not knowing if they're friends or foes, and maybe that says a lot about my personality. I thought he would drop his weapon, but sadly he didn't, so I killed him for no reason at all. Except for an achievement since I had my retro achievements turned on. That made it all worth it. The game just throws you right into the world like this without knowing what you're supposed to do. No real intro, no tutorials. Just you being a caveman. They didn't have any of that fancy stuff either after all. Nowadays you get born and your life will mostly be the same as the life of others because your parents will tell you how to live. Going to school, working and all that, but back then you got born and, well, hunted I guess. Luckily games back in the day came with manuals where things were explained. And the same goes for Tale of the Sun. Just look it up online and you will find it and read up on what your goal here is. Look at how the manual just drops the title of the game. Pretty damn epic. I think it's fine to use the word epic again. Your goal is to reach the sun with a tower you build out of tusks from mammoths. Because who doesn't want to meet God or the sun? Just as Icarus how well that went, or the people who tried to build the Tower of Babel. Now we are stuck with a language like French because of them. Thanks a lot, play Xenogears since it has that tower as a very super duper fun dungeon. Trust me on that one. How do you get those? By killing the mammoths, and I killed one on my first try because I'm just a god gamer. If you're not careful, you can easily get taken out yourself though, which means not total death, because now you're allowed to pick another caveman or a cavewoman, if your tribe got bigger. If you somehow just die and die without making it grow, then you will run out of people and game over, which won't happen unless you suck really hard. It's quite easy to get a bigger tribe, just feed them, kill simple animals like monkeys or whatever these things are, and pick up the meat and return home. The more meat you gather, the more people come. It also increases your lifespan. At first I thought every character has their own health just being randomized, especially the anime girls. In the top right corner you see those things, and they're kinda your lifespan, but not really your health. If you're close to dying by being hit, you see your own ghost flying above you to let you know that 1 or 2 more hits will make you pass on to the afterlife, to heaven or hell. But the thing in the corner shows you your clock is ticking down because you can pass away by being alive for way too long. I picked an anime girl once and started with only 3 of them, while sometimes you got a character that doesn't even show them at first to let you know, hey, this guy can live a really long time. It made me first think that the developers were telling me about the lifespan of an anime girl that is currently popular. Every anime season has that seasonal waifu that everyone suddenly loves. But once the season is over, they move on to the next big anime girl and do it again and again. So the popular lifespan of an anime girl is quite short sometimes. That would have been a big statement, till I read it just depends on the meat you gather. The more meat you have, the longer your people live. Makes sense. Sometimes things are really not as deep as they look like at first. All of that also makes this one of the first ever survival games in 3D, just way more simplistic. So if you have to wait for the next server vibe in Rust, try this game out. You surely will enjoy it just as much, even if there's no guns, no other players, no real base building and all of those things that make Rust fun or unfun. I never played myself since I'm not much of a survival game player, since I lack friends and I already struggle with survival in real life. Mostly because I got 2 left thumbs and I'm really clumsy. I get shampoo way too often into my eyes and do other things wrong that make me think how I survived for so long. It reminds me a bit of Stranded 2, a game I had on a Screen Fun magazine CD back in the day, which is a 3D survival game on a little island. Somehow the game scared me as a kid because there's tigers and they try to kill you, and I hated being chased. I still hate it, but nowadays this wouldn't scare me anymore, hopefully. I tried playing it on a virtual machine recently and it didn't work. Yay. In comparison to Stranded, the world here is way bigger though, and there's a whole bunch of random things to find like an old village, nose, mouth, and a boob rock, and a whole bunch of other body parts, and sadly they don't really do anything. You see them and think this is all part of a bigger thing, like something will happen when you have seen it all, but nope, a missed opportunity to make the game stand out a bit more, because while it feels nice to find something like this, it also makes you feel like, what's the point? They're not really great views, and as you can see, running around aimlessly like this is also not the most fun you could have while playing a video game, except for jumping on these slopes because they make your character jump forward like crazy. It's just fun to do this and it saves a lot of time. I wish I could do this in real life. The manual has a map that helps you a little bit to get around, but it's mostly up to yourself if you're having fun just running around, trying to find things. Now you might have also wondered what's all the stuff laying around and why did you eat it? Because they raise your stats depending on what you eat. Some foods are good for your brain to raise your culture, others are good for your legs to jump better, others help you to attack harder. There's no limit here really. You can just snack all day, but I'm not good with numbers, so I don't know if it's really worth it to keep eating the ones you want, because you can do another thing. There's some stones to the south where you can change your tattoo and immediately get different stats from it, like using the inner eye tattoo makes you smarter way faster, which I use for 90% of the game to level up my tribe with, because if you do that you get a different weapon. First it's just a stick and then an axe and eventually a spear. Those changes are the only times where I kinda noticed that I did more damage than before. Raising the cultural level also makes your huts look way more advanced. It changes nothing else about them actually though. Also you get more and more huts the more people you have in your tribe, obviously. Pizza Hut sucks, and if you like eating there then please reconsider getting an actual good pizza once in a while to open your eyes. Instead of beating the animals you can also pick up things and throw them, but aiming them is kinda janky, especially with the hitboxes. Sometimes you can find golden stones and they one-shot an enemy and you try to hit something with them, but it just won't hit even if it did hit. If you miss, all things just shatter into 1,000 pieces. The combat in general is janky and it's hard to turn around, and if an animal stun locks you kinda, it's almost over for you unless you quickly have enough time to run away and try again. And that's kinda all you do. I have to say, somehow I enjoyed my time with it at first, but then the game turned more into work and nobody wants to work when playing a video game, unless you're German, which I am. But I don't even drink beer, so I am not a real German because I also do not like to work in video games or in general. You also have to sleep in the game, but I actually didn't really mind it too much, somehow. I feel like it should bother me, but it just didn't. When it turns nighttime, your character will just fall over and sleep right there on the floor for a bit, which is not good for your back. I'm happy I got a comfy bed. Just be careful you don't kill an animal and fall asleep right after without even being able to collect the goods, because that happened to me once and after some time the meat or tusks just disappear, and I had to watch it all happen. It's like seeing your wife leave for another man without you being able to do anything about it. After I got tired just aimlessly walking around and hoping to find something cool, I just didn't really care anymore and wanted to finish the game, which meant to endlessly kill the same mammoths over and over to get their tusks. This is one of the most monotone things I've ever done in a video game. Look at this. I just always went the same path up north to get to the mammoth, kill it and then return with the tusk for almost 2 hours. At least you can put on a stream or video while doing this, so the voices in the back of your head won't get too loud when doing this. And it would have taken me even longer if I didn't found the special island thanks to the Game Facts trivia section of the game. You see that little island on the map in the manual? That's where the Holy Grail is hidden, kinda. To get there I needed to upgrade my swimming, so I went with the swimming tattoo and arrived, just to aimlessly walk around trying to find the cave. I found these things that are basically just legs, which is cool too. If I didn't read that this island has a hidden cave with tons of tusks in them, I would have just left again, but since I knew that cave existed here, I looked for it for a couple of minutes till I found it, and there it is, the hidden stash of tusks that saved me like 30 minutes of grinding. I have to say, I kinda wish the game had more of this. Explore and find hidden things that actually give you a bonus. What's the point of finding weird plants if they don't do anything? What's the point of boobs if I can't touch them? What's the point of this and that if I don't get anything out of it? Exploration here feels a bit unrewarding. Except for this hidden cave. And you have to find it by pure luck if you never looked at anything online. It makes me wish I had this game as a kid, because then I could see myself spending hours just walking around trying to find things. But as an adult, it doesn't really give me the same feeling, sadly. The producer, Kazutoshi Iida, himself calls it an anti-fun game. Am I a bad person for someone thinking this was actually fun? At first at least. Halfway through I never wanted to see the game again, but I had to push through to get at least one of the endings. There are 9 endings, and I may be a masochist, but not to the point where I would actually try to get all of them by myself. So I looked at YouTube, and Pixel Pony Phil has uploaded videos of all of them, because there's multiple. And in the comments of those endings is even the person who created the set of retro achievements to give a bit more context how to get each of them. For example, I got ending 2 because my brain was way too big, since for most of the game I used the brain tattoo thingy. And then you just transcend humanity. Being smart is painful, I guess. Not like I could ever relate to that. My favorite one is ending 7, where everyone just becomes cute anime mermaids, or ending 9, where it reminds you of Gurren Lagann because they started living underground, and eventually kinda turn into trees. Most endings are kinda good, and also kinda bad. In the first ending, you basically just get to our current world, becoming just a simple cog in a machine and wasting your life like that. Too relatable. I applaud everyone who has the patience to actually get all 9 of them. You would have to pay me to do that. Back to the words of the producer again, who said he wanted to make an anti-Mario game. He kinda succeeded in that. A game doesn't have to be fun. A game can be anything pretty much. Sure, I want my Bing Bing Wahoo games like Mario to be super duper fun and hope those will always put gameplay first, but not every game has to be like that. It's just like books or movies. Are all movies supposed to be fun? Schindler's List is not really a fun movie to watch, so should it not have been made? Should it have included Hitler cracking some jokes? The same goes for games. If someone wants to tell a story in a specific way or just want to try out new crazy game ideas, then they should go ahead and do it. You may hate it, but hey, you can just play something else. I don't really like most walking simulators, but do I complain about them? Not really, because I can just ignore them. I would only complain about something like if Nintendo suddenly turned Mario into a walking simulator, but they're not dumb enough to do that, I hope. Not every game has to be made for me, and that's fine. Otherwise, every game would have to include cute cave women like here. I think it automatically improves your game. A game can be anything. If I were better with words, I could prolong this part and make it sound really pretentious, but I'm not good with words, so you're in luck. I would recommend you reading the whole interview on Smablations, especially if you hate modern gaming, since he already talked about his dislike for games becoming more like Hollywood blockbusters in 1996 like this. I can see his point in that, but that's a topic for a whole different day. But I have to totally disagree with the director's words when it comes to games like Frogger. Arcade games like that were pretty fun, for a couple of minutes. Maybe he could already see the future of Frogger back then because the 3D Frogger games are not that fun. For a time, games have changed a lot and nowadays there's more possible than ever before. He just made one of the earliest 3D survival games like this that turns extremely unfun after 2 hours and was, yeah, let's release it. Just because he could and wanted to do it. And he succeeded in my eyes. Also, when I started playing it, I was thinking of Doshin the Giant and was like, hey, maybe I should check out who made that game, and yep, same guy. That's quite the list of games he's credited on, with a lot of bangers. I would like to see him directing another game again, after the industry changed so much and technology just went higher and bigger. Maybe he could make even more unfun games now, or maybe he changed his mind and would actually make the most fun game ever. No hate against Doshin the Giant, but I think I enjoyed Tale of the Sun more than that. Maybe it's time for me to revisit it though. Maybe nowadays I could appreciate it a bit more, since I got smarter. Well, not really actually. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video and will have a good day, a good night, or whatever fits your time zone. I'm just gonna be a bit sad now that we never evolved into cute anime mermaids. Evolution could have turned us into so much more, but instead we ended up being also pretty cute sometimes. But still, bye bye.